Stay out of my way!
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.
Marvel Games just keeps on cooking. But regardless, welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites, to another very exciting Marvel Games related video, where we are technically talking about a newly announced Marvel game, so to speak, but in reality, we actually already knew about this game's existence all the way back in 2021. And now, in 2024, we finally have a brand new update about this game, and exactly what the official title of it is. And of course, I am talking about the newly announced Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, which is currently in development by Skydance New Media and Marvel Games, where this project is actually being led by the main creator and writer of the first 3 Uncharted games of Amy Hennig. Now, I did want to talk about this when it was first released on Wednesday, March 20th, but crazy enough, it was revealed at the Game Developer Conference Unreal Engine presentation, and crazily enough, that is exactly where I have been all of this week, going to GDC, just kind of networking, going around, learning more about the gaming industry, but I had no idea that they were going to reveal a brand new in-depth trailer for the game and its story, as well as a tech demo showcasing all the assets that go into this game's creation and what is actually being made behind the scenes within Skydance and Marvel's playbook with how they're going about creating this game, which I found very interesting after watching the presentation online. But now, here we are, and it looks absolutely insane. Of course, as we now know, this game is being made with Unreal Engine 5. Now, does this mean anything massive in terms of gameplay expectations or what the actual aesthetics of the game are going to feel like for the player? Not necessarily, at least not with what we've actually seen from the presentation that they gave us during GDC, but there is actually a lot of information about this game that has already been revealed from Amy Hennig herself, as well as the creatives over at Skydance New Media, which I have already fully broken down in previous videos. So I will leave a link to that video playlist about Marvel 1943 in the description below, as well as the pinned comment in this video that you can check out for yourself. But picture this. Amy Hennig, who obviously is responsible for the Uncharted series, the first 3 of course, and obviously now is stepping her toes into Marvel. But a lot of people are simply thinking that this is going to be Uncharted meets Marvel, and that could very well be true, but we also heard from her that it seems like it's going to take elements from other more cinematic, story-based, action-adventure, or narratively driven games like that of Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, who, if you don't know, are games made by Quantic Dream, which is another awesome studio in my opinion, and I actually, for one, really like those games. So seeing how she's going to incorporate that type of gameplay style into a Marvel-centric title with the background that Amy is known for with Uncharted is going to be very, very interesting. But what I find even more exciting about all this news is that we didn't know that this game was actually going to utilize Unreal Engine 5. But we did know that the other Marvel games that are currently in development by Electronic Arts with Iron Man and Black Panther, those 2 games are actually going to be using Unreal Engine 5 as their main visual engine blueprint. So, seeing that this is pretty much a glimpse as to what those other upcoming Marvel games are going to look like just gets me beyond pumped, especially knowing for the Iron Man game that it's in development by Motive Studios, who, if you don't know, made Star Wars Squadrons and now the recently released Dead Space remake. Seeing all that talent poured into a character like Iron Man is going to be surreal. But back for Marvel 1943, this is a bit of a mixed bag for me personally, because we did know that before we even were aware that Captain America and Black Panther were going to be the main focus characters of this experience, it was said that this game is going to be a mainly action-adventure, story-driven, narrative-based ensemble cast of characters Marvel game. And when I heard that, I immediately thought Fantastic Four. But instead, we now have Captain America Steve Rogers, Azuri Black Panther, who is the grandfather of T'Challa, as well as Gabriel Jones, who's a soldier of the Howling Commandos, and Nanali, who is a spy of the Wakandan spy network, working alongside of Azuri. And all these characters are fully playable. Not just Captain America and Black Panther, but Gabriel Jones and Nanali are going to be playable as well. And I am a bit skeptical on that front, because obviously you would want to play as Captain America and Black Panther above everyone else. But now we are going to get a much more grounded type of gameplay mechanic as well, with playing as a standard Howling Commando US soldier and a Wakandan spy. So how are you going to balance like the super soldier and of course the King of Wakanda's gameplay mechanics, and those are the two main characters that everyone wants to experience themselves as, compared to regular humans? So that, I find, is going to be a very interesting balance to strike between. But I'm also hoping that they understand that the main reason why people are there in the first place is because of Captain America and Black Panther. Which is why I'm a bit salty still that it's not Fantastic Four, but hopefully there will be another developer out there in the future that may take on that team once the time calls for it. Now, I have actually seen some other fans online with their reaction towards this game being skeptical for both the right and wrong reasons. For starters, a lot of people seem to think that this might be another intro to a live service, multiplayer-centric, always online experience within the world of Marvel, like what we saw with Avengers and recently for DC with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, when in reality, that is absolutely not the case. And in fact, this is, yes, a fully single-player, story-driven, narrative-focused, action-adventure, fully Marvel-centric game with 4 playable characters, but not co-op. Again, only single player. So that, I find, is the genre that I personally feel fits the best for all these Marvel characters, like what we saw, of course, with Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, Midnight Suns, and all these other single-player-centric Marvel games is the way to go. And seeing that this game is going to also follow in those footsteps is a great sign. Now, the other consideration that I have seen people be skeptical towards, which I actually agree with, is the fact that we haven't seen gameplay. This game is set to release next year in 2025, which I'm very shocked about, but it's great to know that's coming very soon. But we don't know exactly how it's going to play. We've heard the elements that Amy Hennig is looking towards with Uncharted and Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, and blending her knowledge of the gaming world into this experience, but we don't know how this is going to play, especially considering that the developer working on this game, Skydance New Media, this is the very first video game they've ever made. So, unlike with Insomniac working on Ratchet & Clank and Resistance, we know their gaming background, we know what to expect when incorporating their talent with a character like Spider-Man. For this, we've seen other devs from other companies now working at Skydance, like Naughty Dog and Visceral and all this, but not knowing what their overall gameplay format is going to be for this game is both concerning but also exciting, because that means that they could bring something new to the table that we haven't really seen before within the AAA gaming medium. And knowing that a wonderful person with immense talent like Amy is leading the charge for this massive Marvel IP in a single-player centric setting, I think is going to definitely be a huge sigh of relief for people who might be afraid that this is live service or multiplayer or might be a flop. It's definitely going to be a new and engaging experience, unlike, I think, anything we've seen before. But it really makes me wondering on how they're going to approach, like, big set pieces. Will there be story choice elements like in Detroit, like being able to choose your narrative in a way? I would love that. It's definitely a new experience, for sure, but one that I think a lot of people should be more excited about rather than skeptical towards, based on the talent that is being poured into this experience. But I definitely think that the pros of what we know about this game so far far outweigh the potential cons or any already established cons that people are having towards this experience. But I, for one, am very much looking forward to seeing what exactly Amy and her team at Skydance have in store for this game, especially considering that we already kind of saw both Captain America and Black Panther take center stage within the Avengers game, and we all know how that turned out. So now seeing that this is going to be a far more story-focused, character-driven experience, tailor-made for Captain America, Black Panther, as well as Gabriel Jones and Nolly, I am very much curious to see how this is going to pan out by the time we see more footage of it. And the bonus thing about that is that a lot of people thought this was in-engine, CGI, not fully finished, rendered cutscenes. That is actually, from Amy's words, how the game is going to look and potentially play by the time we see the finished product next year. So I think that is absolutely nuts, and it also shows the power of what Unreal Engine 5 is capable of, and again, how that can be applied to the other upcoming Marvel video games with Iron Man and Black Panther, which will release later on down the line as well. I'm very excited to learn more. I've always been a bit like, we will wait and see towards this game, but now after seeing the story trailer and learning more about the details going into its development with Amy at the head of it, I am very, very excited, and I cannot wait to see more. But with all that said, everybody, that is the video that I have for all you today. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra? Are you skeptical towards any of the potential gameplay elements that might be incorporated into this experience? And with the gameplay side of things, what would you want it to play like more? Uncharted, or potentially Detroit Become Human, or Heavy Rain? Let me know all your thoughts. Also, let me know if you like me doing a face cam video. I thought it'd be fun just to give you a more chill breakdown discussion of my overall thoughts for the game, and hopefully we hear more about it relatively soon. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. Stay merry, Marvelites, and until next time, peace out.